Today we're going to multiply with decimals. We're actually going to be using the area model to multiply as well. So if you don't know what that is, please reference previous videos that I have recorded. Today we're going to be solving the math problem 1 3/10 with 2 1/2 or 2.5 or 2 5/10, whatever you would like to call it. In this math problem, we're going to do it two different ways. I'm going to solve one side with the decimal in the math problem, and I'm going to solve it without the decimal as well, and then we're going to estimate the decimal back in. Both work for students. Most of the students multiply without it in, and then we estimate it back in, but I will show you both currently. All right, so to do this, we're going to expand these numbers into expanded form. So we have 1 and 3. Actually, let me make that smaller so I have room to add. Goodness. Okay. And then I'm going to have 2 1/2. Making our area model. This one's really messy. I apologize. Okay, so 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 5 is 5. But because we know the power of place values here, we need to shift and bring in a decimal there. All right, we have 0.3 times 2, so that's 3 times 2 is 6 with the power of our decimals. Power of our place value. We're 1 place value behind the decimal. All right, this is the one they can get a little tricky on. We're going to do 3 times 5, which is 15. And because I'm working with 2 decimal places behind, I'm working in the hundredths place, my answer also needs to be in the hundredths place. Then this is the next error that I typically see students do, is they are not lining up their math problem correctly. They will stack them in a whole nother weird way, and then therefore they get the answer wrong. Okay, bring that decimal down. Okay, less errors happen when we take the decimal out as far as multiplying and all of that goes, but students sometimes have a hard time visualizing where that decimal needs to go, which can cause a problem with if you take the decimal out. So it's up to your student, whichever way works better for them. But I'm going to go ahead and break this one down. So I'm going to pretend that these 2 decimals are not here. So I have the number 10 and a 3. So pretending that is the number 13. I'm going to pretend this is the number 25. So I've decomposed my numbers, and I've also taken the decimals out of the numbers. Okay, right here, 1 times 2 is 2, and our place value. 3 times 2 is 6, our place value. 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 5 is 5. And then it's a matter of adding. All right, now the challenge here is figuring out where that decimal needs to go. So once again, some students will realize that they have 2 decimal places after, so they will take where the decimal is and move it over and plop it in, and then they'll be done with the equation. Some students do not notice that, and we need to estimate back in. So what we're going to do is actually we're going to estimate this problem. So I've got 1.3. I'm going to round that to 1. And I'm going to multiply that by, so 2 1/2, it can go either way. We could round it up to, I like rounding up, so we're going to do 2 times 3. Okay, so I'm rounding this up to here, so I'm estimating here 3. So my answer needs to be somewhere around 3. So the next step we would challenge the students is when they're looking at this number, they're going to put in a decimal in different places to test to see if they think that it is where the decimal needs to go. So we're estimating. Our answer needs to be somewhere around the number 3. So if I know if I put the decimal here, that's 32 1/2. That's too big. If I put it here, well, that's 3 and 25 cents or 3 and 25 hundredths. That's pretty good. So I like it there. And then I also want them to check further. Okay, definitely not. That is below a whole number. Definitely not the answer there. So in that case, our decimal is going to go right in here, and this would be our answer. Okay? So 2 different ways that they can solve these multiplication problems: keeping the decimals in, taking the decimals out. They just got to remember to put the number back into the problem.